Okay, so this is our third video for practice set 5, chapter 7. For practice set 5, chapter 7. We completed the first 4 on using Avogadro's number. We then looked at the subscripts for the different atoms within a compound. And next we're going to look at how to calculate how many moles of carbon are in each of the following. So we have 75 grams of carbon. We want to know how many moles that is. So we're going to take 75.0 grams. Carbon. We're going to set up factor label method or unit analysis. I want to get rid of grams of carbon and I want to get into moles. So if I go to my periodic table, I'll see that 1 mole of carbon is going to be 12.01 grams of carbon. So then I'm going to take my 75 grams. I'm going to divide by 12.01. I get 3 significant figures here, and so that's going to be 6.24 moles of carbon. All right. For the second one, we have 125 grams of CO2. For that, we're still going to have 1 mole of carbon going to grams of carbon. But first, we have to look at how many grams of CO2, right? So if I simply take 125 and divide by 12.01 like we did up here, is that going to give me the amount of carbon that's there? Probably not, right? So we know the molar mass of the CO2 would be the 12.01 plus 16 times 2 would be 32. So that's going to be 44.01 grams. Now that's what I have 25 grams of, not just the carbon by itself. So we're going to say 125 grams of CO2 converted to moles of CO2 over 44.01 grams of CO2. But remember, we want to get moles of carbon. So to get to that, what I'm going to look at is for every 1 mole of CO2, how many moles of carbon will we have? Well, 1. So 1 mole of carbon. Moles of CO2 will cancel out. Grams of CO2 will cancel out. We'll be left with moles of carbon. So tricky. You got to watch out for that type of stuff. So 125 divided by 44.01 will give us 2.84. And again, we get 3 sig figs. That'll be moles of carbon. All right, last but not least, we have 0.25 grams of ethane, C2H6. It's going to look very much like the second one we just did, right? So first we're going to get into the moles of C2H6. So for every 1 mole of C2H6, it's going to be how many grams? Well, we have 12.01 times 2 plus each hydrogen is 1.01, so that's going to be 6.06. That gives us a molar mass of 30.08 grams. Then last but not least, I want to get into moles of carbon. So for every 1 mole of C2H6, I'm going to get 2 moles of carbon. So I'm going to take 0.25, divide that by 30.08, then multiply that by 2, and I'm going to get 0.2 sig figs here, so 0.17 moles of carbon. All right, so that's the answers for those 3. Now I am going to go back and look at the molar mass here. We're going to show you how to calculate that real quick, just in case you're struggling with that. This will give you another little practice piece. If you're good with molar masses, then enjoy, and if you need to come back and watch again, feel free. All right, that'll be it for this video outside of the molar masses. So again, to calculate the molar mass, what I did was I took carbon, and there were 2 of them, and I multiplied that by 12.01 grams. Then I took the hydrogen, and there were 6 of those, and I multiply that by 1.01 grams. I took those products and I summed them up, and that's how I got the 30.08. All right, talk to you soon.